Do you have a sense of your mother's early life, youth in Lodz?
I know what she's written, so what I know about it, that's what I know. She wrote. I once asked her to write her autobiography because I wanted to know what was truth in her novels and what was fiction, and she started, but she couldn't go on. And I think she had one of these. She was a writer who really needed to fictionalize in order to get at the truth. So, what I know um, from her fiction, essentially. I think she was the eldest of her parents had two daughters, and my mother was older. She sounds like she was a little bit of a rebellious child. She kept running away from school. She didn't. She was sent to one of the seashore schools, Medemschule, that the Bundist parents got together and established. She wasn't originally. I think she wasn't very happy there, so she ran away a lot, and she gave her teachers grief. But as she got older, became she was very bright, and so she became one of the best students in the class. And she had a crush on one of her teachers. She had a terrible crush. And one day, the students, she must have been 11, 12, something like that, students decided that since their parents were always going out on revolution, right, that they were going to have strikes. So the students in her class decided they were going to have a strike. So they just marched out of the classroom. And my mother, who adored her teacher, refused to go. And so the teacher, who was in the room, turned to her and said, well, what kind of a Bundist are you? Why don't you go too? And he got mad at her. You know, she was a strike breaker, and she felt awful. She just so that story is in her book. It's in The Tree of Life, and I think she even told me. So I'm pretty sure that actually happened. And I know that her crush on her teacher was for real. And he came to a bad end. He was during the war. They all came to bad ends. Anyway, while she was at the school, she sat on the same bench as my father, my father was the son of a Lodz city councilor, also from the weavers, a weaving trade. So my mother and my father ended up being getting the prize for best students, and the principal, when he awarded them their prizes, he made the mistake of calling my mother by my father's last name. He called her Morgentaler. And years later, when they when they actually got married and they learned that this principal was still alive, they went and told him that he had foretold the union. And but my mother and father were childhood sweethearts, so they were they were dating when the war broke out. And that's pretty much what I know about her school years.